Hello folks. Today I want to share a very interesting story of career guidance that my dad used to help me find my subject, or what is the career or subjects I need to study to pursue a particular career. And looking back, I realized, man, it's absolutely brilliant what he had done. And that's why I wanted to share with you. See, today things are very different. Today you have very good tools that are available, something I am also very familiar with this, that can help you find your strengths and identify what are all the good career options that one can pursue, given that there are so many options available today. Of course, far more than when I was planning to go to college. So my dad used to do something. See, my dad was in sales, okay, and he himself was a good student during his days. And because of the independence struggle, he could not get into the good college, although he had good marks, because my grandfather had retired and my grandfather's business had suffered seriously because of all this Quit India movement and all the other stuff, right? Because of the freedom struggle, it did him. And of course, he was getting older too, had reached retirement age. A lot of these factors. So, of course, my dad pursued science instead of engineering because, of course, his dad or my grandpa couldn't afford, and there were many other kids in the family who were in school at the time. But irrespective, my dad went into science, and from there, of course, he got an opportunity to move into sales, more like technical sales and all. But anyway, so this is what he used to do. See, when we were growing up, if I recollect, I was in the 5th grade or maybe 4th or 5th grade. He used to do a couple of things which, when I look back, are sort of very revolutionary. See, anytime we had guests come home, he will always introduce us, of course, like any host would do. But he would also help me or have them share what exactly their uncle would be doing, right? He'd say, so I met civil engineers, I had met people who are running farms, I had met people who are working in industries, different kind of people I had met, and they will very gladly explain what they do, what their profession, what exactly they do, how they became studied, what all field of study did they do to become either a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer or a structural engineer, anything like that. So even right from a younger age, I started getting some feel, that to become this, what you have to study, and this was true for me and for my brothers too. Then he went even a step further, and he used to subscribe to multiple magazines. At least one I could vividly remember is something called Science Today. I'm not sure if it's still available. And I can remember we were still in school. I think I was in 6th grade or 7th grade, maybe sometime in the mid-70s. Okay, the concept of cell phone was discussed, a scientific concept on how cell phones can be made to work while some person is moving, and that how the various cells can be created by putting various towers, and how it will have a mechanism where somebody moved from the range of one tower to the another, how that this phone will switch and the signals will move from one tower to another, so continuity can be maintained, and how it can be very revolutionary when this concept can be implemented. So this was, I'm talking about a concept in the mid-70s. Guess what? In another 12-13 years, okay, or late 80s, right? At least in US, I know the first cell phone company had come. So from a concept itself, I was aware, and then of course, another thing my dad did was, many of his friends who had factories or who were working or were owners, he would make sure that, he would request them, hey, if I can go and see the factories. And he knew that I had an interest, because anytime he will give his motorbike for repair, I will go with him and I will watch the mechanic work. I will ask the mechanic some questions. And one of my uncles was planning to open a bike repair shop, motorbikes, right? So I will go and help him, of course, during the summer vacations, and learn and, make my hands dirty, learn to use the tools. So my dad fairly figured out that I did have a technical inclination. Okay, so it's something that was coming naturally to me, and amazing observation powers, right? And he encouraged me. So, and with that, I visited multiple factories. I have gone. I don't think any kid of my age would have seen so many factories. I even once went to one of his friends who had invited us for a lunch to his farmhouse where he was raising poultry. And then, of course, he explained to me what are the issues, how they manage, what are the challenges, and everything. So it was not just pure technical what you do, but getting a little bit of a business sense of what are the challenges, how you become, how you become a veterinarian, and all those things I understood, which was great. And with this, all this knowledge, and of course, I met one of my cousin brother-in-laws, who lived in Delhi and used to work for IBM. So first time I met him, again, my dad did the same thing. He told him, hey, can you explain what you do? And what is this field? What is the future like? And he explained to me all about computers, and this company called IBM where he used to work for, and what is the great about it, and what does he see the future of this field and all. So it was a very good discussion, and with that and reading various magazines which my dad used to subscribe. Many of these are foreign magazines and really expensive, but my dad thought it was very important for me to make an informed decision. See, with all this, I'll tell you something I absolutely admire about my dad. He never forced us into any particular field. He said, listen, whatever you guys decide, I will support you. And all he said was, I will facilitate that you can make an informed decision. It is not because I think you should do, but talk to different people and get an idea. Now, of course, my dad being in sales had gone to many 5-star hotels. So he also realized being a chef was a great. So he gave us an idea what chefs do. We did go to a hotel and, got a first-hand experience of that. And he will share various stories, right? Then once he got a big article on something on, in those days, of course, that how there's a great opportunity that scientists and engineers are finding that oceans can be mined, because the amount of metals and minerals out there is beyond human imagination, okay, compared to anything that's available on land. So that was another area which sounded very good. So eventually I narrowed down on 3 fields. Okay, one was, I said I'm going to become an engineer, and that an electronics engineer, because computers sounded very good. I had some knowledge of electronics, and of course he did buy me some books and all to read on electronics even in those days. Okay, so I had fairly good idea that, hey, I want to go into electronics. Maybe my first choice is computers that I'm going to pursue. And the second was, what is plan B? Hey, if this doesn't pan out, if I don't get good marks, because I was not a great student, okay? So my second plan was becoming a chef, because my dad said, hey, this is a great field. Now, just remember, many decades ago, this was not a very respectable position. So many of my family and friends, when I shared with this idea, the typical reaction was, are we spending so much money, so you want to become a cook? Because they never realized that this is a profession, not just looking at the typical cooks in a dhaba, or the ones who come for weddings and all and cook food or come to the home. It's that it is a profession which is a very high paying and does require a lot of learning and creativity. So of course, but that was the level of knowledge people had in those days. Now you can see how many there are famous chefs in the last 20-30 years. 25-30. It's amazing how, okay, so the viewpoint has changed, but at that time it was still new. But again, thanks to my dad's style of giving me exposure to this field, I narrowed down as the second one. My third option, even if that doesn't work, okay, was to go into oceanography, which was still a very new concept being discussed. And my dad's viewpoint was, you should generally be early in a field, because that's what gives you a lot of opportunities. Okay, but I didn't know where to study. But all said and done, I got into electronics engineering. Okay, and of course, guess what? As I had dreamt and I wanted to, I got into the computer field. Money was great career options. It took me to the US within a very few years. And overall, I can't complain. See, things just worked out. Now, all this happened because I was early in a field, and all these things my dad did to make sure I choose a field which I genuinely love, and it is my decision to pursue that field, not his, not anybody else's in the family. Never did I ever recollect him pressurizing me. He said, okay, you choose, because you have to make a, and of course he did facilitate helping me to make an informed decision. Now, of course, over the years I was in electronics, I got out of the field, and the most interesting part is my love of technology and engineering never went away. See, that is the power of the career guidance he gave me. Okay, yes, I was in electronics. I still love electronics. I still love computers. Okay, over the years I got into management, and even at one point I got out, then I got back in because I realized technology is what I love, and did a lot of good stuff. Even now, if you ask me, technology, I love it. See, it came from my own understanding, it came from my own strengths that over the years I developed. It came from my own decision, the most important part. Even today, I'm out of the corporate world. I've decided to move into the education field to help a lot of children, with how they can study well, help guide them with career guidance and all. Even without any of these tools, see, today there are a lot of tools available, right, which you can do. But this method was the most powerful one, because even to this day, when many in my family would like to watch a soap opera or any of those serials, my love would always be watching technology shows, engineering shows, mega engineering, factories. And thank God, with this technology and competition, there are many channels like History and Discovery. These are my favorite channels. So to this day, I have this amazing love of technology. And that shows that a career guidance done properly can truly connect you with something that you love, not just to do a job, but even after I've gotten out of the corporate world, I still love it because it came from me and it was my decision. Now, of course, today there are much better tools available, and again, so guess what I did for my son? I followed my dad's footsteps. Of course, I did take some tests and all, have him do that. But these are all in the US, and I personally felt they were not very accurate in terms of what they were saying, although they were generally all right. Okay, of course, today, and then again, my son is already working now. Today, tools are much better, more culturally sensitive tools, so which is very important, I thought. So the key point is, when you choose a career, choose something you want to do, not because somebody is pressurizing you. And this is for all parents also, that let the child make a decision, let that be his decision, but provide him all the information so it's an informed decision. So I'm very happy what my dad did to me, because it's working. Even to this day it works. Okay, and I use many of his techniques, and I know my son loves what he's doing. Okay, so I definitely would urge every parent to look at this, because yes, it does take investment, it does take time, but in the end it is worth it. So with that said, what do you guys think about this story? Does it inspire you? Any questions you have? Do you have a different viewpoint on how one should go about choosing their career? Share with me. I would love to hear from you. So please share, like, and comment. And with that, I'll be signing off. This is Ajay Iyer. Take care. Bye now.